welcome to Master Mentors. Joining me today, Chris Voss. Chris, great to have you here, buddy.
Absolute pleasure.
We've been hanging out a little bit the last couple of days, and I've been learning all about negotiation. As you know, I love his book, Never Split the Difference. Chris, I got to say, what made you decide to write a book? FBI negotiator, top guy doing that, traveling the world negotiating, and you come back and like, all right, I'm going to teach business people now. The excitement lost, or?
In getting better at being a hostage negotiator, we started to collaborate with the folks at Harvard.
Right.
Went through Harvard Law School's negotiation course, and I laid, my hostage negotiation jiu-jitsu on them when I was there. And they were like, you guys are doing the same thing we are. It just, the stakes are different, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, now, I when people say to me, because I tell them about the book all the time, and they're like, never split the difference. What's that mean? It's like, well, you can't give half a body back. There's none of this like, I'll go your halves. You give me half the body. I try to teach them that.
No King Solomon there, right? Split the baby.
Yeah. The baby. Now, and I've had the pleasure of having dinner with Chris a few times. One of the stories that I want to start with today was when you talk about Haiti.
Right.
All the kidnappings in Haiti and that sort of stuff when you had to negotiate there, because there's some real important lessons, especially from that you bring out in the book, but I think we got to teach them today.
Well, we knew the dynamics of the other side. I knew that, and I told a father of a kidnapping one time when I was coaching him, I said, look, bad guys want to party on Saturday night. We can cut this deal on Friday.
How many kidnappings do you think happened during that time?
There was at least one a week.
One a week. So one a week, and same crew, different crews? What's your theory?
Different crews. They would have been only about 4 or 5 crews operating, not that much. Crime is a business, and people have territories, and they don't like people getting into their territories.
It's weird, though, that's the whole thing of it, because, normal business, you don't think of it that way.
They got a franchise. They got the area for their franchise. They don't exactly have ActionCOACH in Haiti for kidnappers, but maybe if they did, they'd be more effective.
So when you go in to negotiate with these kidnappers, they've given you a time thing, and this is why I want to talk about the lesson of timing in negotiation.
Right.
Tell me about that, because I think that's a real interesting lesson for people.
Well, understand their time frame. They're going to be driven by their time frame. They're going to have an expectation of how long it's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which means they're going to try and hit that. You try to settle early, they're not going to be interested in settling. They're going to think like, this is supposed to take 4 or 5 days. We've been at this 2. How much more can we get? That's what they'll ask themselves. And then as they start getting closer to the time frame, they're going to get real antsy. And then, do they want to party on Saturday night? Do they want to make their quarterly bonus? It's the same thing.
It's a very different way of thinking it, isn't it? It's like, here they are, and as you get to Thursday, what deadline did most of them give you?
Well, they wouldn't give us a deadline. They'd always give us vague threats, but we would always know how serious they were. On Monday or Tuesday, they'd be like, hey, pay us or we'll never let them go. But Wednesday, Thursday, like, pay us or we'll kill them. Well, there's a change there. They get more serious. It's not necessarily more dangerous, but it lets you know they're getting a little bit more antsy. So however they express those threats would tell us how close we're getting to their deadlines.
So listening to the languaging to see what is the actual time frame that these people are working on.
Right.
Now, there's a whole bunch of other things around negotiation that you cover in depth in the book and that you teach in your courses and stuff. I think, though, that sometimes you tell the stories. Like, I remember you telling the story of the bank robbers negotiation and then the hostages in Iraq and all of these different stories and things. But there's one that stands out, the Jack Welch story.
Oh, yeah. And it goes to the fact that, I have no use for the word yes. None. Yes is a useful word.
All right, hang on. We're going to circle back to that. He's saying yes is not a good word and this is negotiation. All right, let's circle back to that.
Yeah. So
tell me the story.
All right, so I want Jack Welch to come and speak at the negotiation class I'm teaching at the time at USC.
Right.
He's doing a book signing. His wife Susie, Jack and Susie, The Real Life MBA. It's a book. They're coming to Los Angeles. I'm going to go to the book signing. I'm going to ask Jack to come speak at the class. Now, everybody that comes there is going to ask Jack to do something.
Yeah.
We come to the house. Can we use, come meet my kid. My wife makes a good meatloaf. Whatever it is, they're going to ask. And plus, you've only got about 7 seconds max with them, too, when you walk up.
Getting the photo, getting the signing,
keep
that's
moving,
the thing.
200 people in line behind you. So I walk up to Jack Welch, and instead of trying to get him to say yes, which I know is a waste of time, I say, is it a ridiculous idea for you to come and speak at the negotiation class I teach at USC? And he gets this really intense look on his face and a scowl, and then he looks up and to the left, and his face just freezes with this horrible grimace. And he doesn't move. And Jack Welch is not a young guy, so he's frozen, and I thought, he just died. He had a stroke. I figure he's going to fall over dead.
I've given Jack Welch a heart attack at his book signing.
At his book signing. And so when he doesn't die right away, I'm pretty relieved, but he still doesn't unfreeze. He's still looking up with his... And finally looks at me and he says, this is my personal assistant's name. This is a special Twitter account we have set up to communicate with her. I will call her and tell her who you are and what you want. I think we're going to be in Los Angeles in the fall. If we are, we'll come in and speak at your class. All from a single note.
So hang on, let's circle back here. It's a great story, but so many lessons in it. Talk to me about the word yes, because, the first negotiation book I ever read, Getting to Yes.
Right. Yeah, well, if I try to get you to say yes, you're going to be worried about where's the hook, what have you let yourself in for? Like if I even say to you, are we in Las Vegas? You're going to be like, there's a reason he's trying to take me someplace.
Right.
Are we, is it, I don't even know what day it is. Is it Tuesday? There's a reason you're asking that. There's a path you're trying to lead me down. And because of that, if I don't know where it's going, I'm going to be reluctant to say yes to anything. Anything. Because I don't know what it is.
All the sales trainings, all that stuff, they're all about getting a yes from people.
Right. Trap them. Tie them down.
Right, so people know this stuff now. They know they're getting trapped.
Right.
So now they're getting clever around that
After
stuff.
It's been done to you 1,000 times. That's why there's a counterfeit yes. Because if I know you're going to try and trap me, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you the counterfeit yes. Because I figure you're trying to trap me, so it's okay for me to lie to you. I want to know where you're going. Maybe I can get something out of it without giving you something anyway. Maybe if you're a business person, maybe you're going to give me your marketing strategy, and I'm not going to hire you. I'm just going to take your strategy. I'm going to go off with it.
Right. So it's like that. Yeah, sure. Send me the information. It's like
right.
the counterfeit yes is the yes, but I don't really mean it. It's
right. Exactly.
Yeah, sure. Send me the information. Yeah, book me in for the thing. Yeah. Tell me to call me.
Yeah, I want to make more money. Sure. What do you got? Whatever it is. So that yes has become the instant anxiety creation answer that I'm trying to get.
Right. Got it.
Which means now you trust me less.
Huh. So hang on. Take me through that. I've cottoned on that there's a trap, so now I trust you less because you did just trap me.
Or that I'm even trying.
Huh. Got it. So, okay, let's flip that around then. You've got Jack Welch sitting there. You change the question dramatically so that instead of a yes, you're getting a no, but the no means yes.
Well, people feel protected and safe when they say no. And what happens when you feel protected and safe? You get clarity. You think things through. You're not worried about what's going on. So you'll either get a no and a lot of other answers to other questions, like who would I talk to? Who's your assistant? How do I get a hold of her? He answered all those questions.
Yeah.
Or what people often say if we have a proposition form, instead of saying do you agree, we'll say do you disagree? And they'll go, no, I don't disagree, but here's where my problems are. I need this, and this. So it's like, perfect. That was the information I needed.
Huh.
A no but is a great answer because everything that follows that, since but is an erasing word, you basically erase the word no, and then they've laid out everything for you that they need in order to make the deal.
Huh. So a no but, a no... Like, let's go back to that question you asked Jack Welch. How did you... Give me the wording in that and the thought process through that wording, because I think that was an amazing question.
Well, nearly any one of your yes questions can simply be flipped over to, is it ridiculous? Instead of would it be possible, is it ridiculous?
Right.
Is it a bad idea? Any way that you're just switching that question where effectively you're getting some sort of confirmation when they say, no, it's not ridiculous.
Yeah, is it a crazy idea that we go for dinner?
Right.
No, it's not a crazy idea. Excellent. Where would you like to go?
Yeah. Or they'll say, no, it's not a crazy idea, but I got a 5:30 call, and I got to take care of that call. Or, I got to take my kid to soccer or whatever it is, or I have to be done by 8:30 because I got an 8:30 conference call. People begin to tell you exactly what it's going to take to implement.
Is this something that you just naturally worked out, or is this something that they taught you in FBI negotiating, or is it some? How did you come about this? Did you use it in a negotiation somewhere, or?
Well, first started to get turned on to the idea that no was vastly different than what we thought when I read the book. And then my son Brandon, who's my partner in my business, our business. We read Start With No, Jim Camp's book on negotiation.
Right.
And I remember thinking, like, Start With No? Boy, that's nuts. I got to read that.
Yeah.
And basically it was only reconciling yourself that people feel more comfortable with you if it's okay to say no. Camp's whole approach was, you can say no to this at any time. You can tell me to go away whenever you want. And Jim called it the right to veto. And as soon as I give you the right to veto, you're cool because your autonomy is safe. You don't feel trapped. And actually, in talking about it with some of my hostage negotiators, because I was still with the FBI at the time, female hostage negotiator in Pittsburgh was a superstar. She had taken it one step further when her boss was mad at her. She was doing a fantastic job, and we talk about it in our book. Tall Ross co-wrote the book. My son Brandon and I and Tall wrote this book together. Brandon doesn't have credit, but he was there every step of the way. He helped us. He was every bit a part of the writing team. So Marty was with the FBI Pittsburgh, and her supervisor was jealous because the Pittsburgh Police Department loved her. She was a hostage negotiator.
Right.
And she was helping them pick negotiators, which is a phenomenal relationship. Because the FBI and the local police don't get along a lot.
Right.
So not only are they getting along, they're asking for her help, which is a great concession. Supervisor's very jealous. She gets called into a meeting with him by the secretary. She says, "What's this about?" The secretary says he's going to fire you from the negotiation team. So she walks in knowing that he's going to remove her from the team. And she says to him, "Do you want the FBI to be embarrassed?" Now, I never would have had the courage to ask that question.
That's a tough question.
I mean, at the time, I'm like, holy cow, God bless you, completely on your own. You did this. And instead of, I would imagine a guy bursting into flames and, "How dare you ask me that manipulative question?" Instead, he just leans back in his chair and he goes, "No." And she said, "What do you want me to do?" Which is a perfect follow-up question that makes the other person feel in charge.
Right.
She says, "What do you want me to do?" And he said, "Just don't let this interfere with your investigations anymore. Now just get out of my office." Which means she walked out still running the negotiation team. He didn't fire her from the team. She walked in, she was going to get fired. She asked a question where she solicited a no, followed it up with a great open-ended question, a what question. We call them calibrated questions. And she walks out intact.
I mean, when you think about it, now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense. But it's not nature.
No.
It's not natural to go in asking for a no. And I think if I was to apply this, I'd almost have to sit down and write out a bunch of questions, almost scripted.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I think I would go straight for the yes, just naturally.
Well, yeah, you're wired to get a yes. You're wired. Everybody starts out, if yes is success, then no's got to be failure, right?
Right.
But yes is not success, especially if it's counterfeit. So we got to get that out of people's heads. And then we tell people, write down all the questions you would ask in order to make your case. Most of those are those yes trap questions.
They are. They really are.
And then you change the first part by, do you disagree? Are you against? Is this a bad idea? Is this ridiculous? Our favorite one that triggers an instantaneous, if somebody hasn't spoken to you in months.
Right.
Months. They're going completely silent, not returning your emails, phone calls, text messages. Send them a one-line text. "Have you given up on doing business with me?" You are going to get an answer back in 3 to 5 minutes.
Have you given up on doing business with me? Write that down, everybody. That's cool. So I can see people using that now on emails, texts, phone messages.
You send that out there, stay by your phone or your computer because they're going to answer. You got to be ready for the answer.
That's fantastic. Now, a couple of other things, and you teach a lot about emotional control and how to control your emotions and stuff. But there's two other words that I love from the book. That's right.
That's right. That's
You
right.
said it.
There you go. Look at that. Woo-hoo.
Tell me about that as a strategy and how that plays into things.
Okay, so the 2 millimeter shift, to borrow a phrase from Tony Robbins, you're right is what we love to get people to say, and that's horrible. When someone looks at us and says, you're right.
Yeah.
Because that's what we all say to somebody when we want them to leave us alone and go away.
Yes, isn't it? It is. You're in the middle of a debate or an argument. You're right. I'm out of here.
You're right. You're right. And they get real happy when you say you're right to them, and they shut up and they go away.
Or they realize that it's a complete just palm off and go.
Very rarely do people actually realize.
Don't ever say it to my wife. All right? I'm never using the "you're right."
I know you would never do that with your wife. But that's right's what people say when they completely bought into what you just said. When they believe that what you just said was the complete truth. Like in the last American presidential election, whichever side of the, whether Republican or Democrat, at the last debate, when Trump and Hillary were debating, whoever you liked, when they said something you liked, you didn't look at the TV and go, you're right. You looked at the TV and you went, that's right. And that's what people say when they bought in 1,000. When you get a that's right out of somebody, when you get them to say that's right instead of yes, they're telling you they feel connected to you. They feel that what you just said was the complete truth. I mean, it's their confirmation that they feel empathy from you. They feel understood. This even works on sociopaths.
On sociopaths?
Everybody.
All right, give me an example of this working on a
Sociopaths
sociopath.
have feelings too. They want to be loved. They get their feelings hurt.
All right,
They
give me an
don't care what
example.
happens to us.
Where do you get that's right working with a sociopath?
Again, my son Brandon, my business partner, said the birth of the that's right moment was when we were working a kidnapping in the Philippines, and we got the murdering, raping, sociopathic serial killer terrorist to say that's right to our negotiator.
Hang on, this guy is murdering people. He's kidnapping people, killing people left and right.
Not just murdering, but he liked to cut people's heads off. That's a whole nother level of homicide. He liked to have a big machete in his hands. They had a way that they were very proud of how effectively they could do that. I mean, this is up close and personal.
So this is
homicide.
Worst type of human being ever in the world type person.
Right.
So this is who you chatted to for a living for a long time. These type of people.
Yes, those the bad, the mad, and the sad.
Oh, that's crazy. So hang on, how did you get him to say that's right? Now it wasn't you negotiating with him, right?
I'm coaching.
You're coaching a team. Of
I was an
negotiators.
international coach. I'm coaching a negotiator.
Right.
I'm coaching a negotiator, and our goal for that day, because we've been stalemated from quite some time in this kidnapping, we couldn't get them to drop the ransom demand.
Right.
Want to get it down into an area where we might be able to run a sting operation on them, so to speak. But we got to get the money down. They're not budging, and their reason for $10 million ransom demand, the $10 million, Dr. Evil, was for 500 years of oppression in the south of the Philippines. From the Spanish to the Japanese to the Americans. Now I know
There's no logic to it. It's just
right, and whoever you have arguments with, they always have logic. Right? And they never bring stuff up from the past in your arguments. That doesn't happen in day-to-day life, does it?
No debate ever with a client, with a customer, with a family member. There's always stuff coming up from the past.
So I coached my guy, today we're going to reiterate everything he said in all of his reasoning. We're going to sound like we're making their case, but what we'll do is just showing him we completely understand it. We got to overstate it. We overstate not your case, overstate their case.
Right.
Lay it on thick. If you don't feel like you're laying it on thick, you're not laying it on thick enough. And make no mistake, the guy on the other end of the phone is a sociopath.
Yeah.
My guy gets on the phone and lays it on thick. You're not asking for ransom, you're asking for war damages for 500 years of oppression, from the Spanish to the Japanese to the Americans, economic harm, atrocities committed under the Americans. You're not Filipinos anyway. Your morals, your separate independent homeland, it's being oppressed by a government in Manila. It's being propped up by the latest colonial oppressor, the Americans anyway. I mean, lay it on thick. He laid it all out, laid it on thick, and then he did the effective pause. You got to shut up. You got to let silence do its job. And the sociopath on the other end of the phone said literally, "That's right." And the $10 million ransom demand disappeared in that moment. It went from $10 million to zero in the "that's right" moment, and it never came back.
Wow. So what does it do to the person when they say that's right? I mean, what does it does it disarm them? Does it how does it change the person saying it? Because if I'm negotiating with a customer or a client or someone and they say that's right, what am I expecting? What has it shifted in them?
Well, all of the above. And what this really is Stephen Covey advice from way back. Seek first to understand, then be understood. It's seek first to show understanding. So you can be understood. It leaves you in a position to make your point if you have to. As stupid as it sounds, people they will not give in until they feel like you heard them out.
Right.
They will not give in. And then the chance that they're the moment they're the most likely to give in is when they feel heard out. Let's pretend that Stephen Covey was a sociopath. He wasn't. But let's say all he wanted, the only thing Covey wanted was to be understood.
Right.
And he said, all right, so I got to make sure the other side knows I understand. Now I can be understood. If that's your only goal, there's no faster way.
Right. Got it. Now, you said a moment ago, sociopaths have emotions too.
Yeah, Phoenix too.
Tell me about, actually share with the people, you were sharing with me last night at dinner about the mom story, you know, that because I think that's an amazing thing, understanding emotions, because if you want to understand, when you read the book, one of the key fundamentals is understanding your emotions as well as theirs. And that's a simple paraphrase of what you're talking about, but when you use emotions with other people, it's real important.
Well, it's everything. All of our thinking has emotions intertwined in it. There's actually a lot of scientific studies that show without emotions you can follow directions, but you can't make decisions.
Dang, that's a big point right there.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's everything. It's the whole thing. Like, I can say, organize this room based on colors, the spectrum of the rainbow. Mm-hmm. And if you happen to have a mental defect, let's say you had brain surgery that disconnected a portion of your emotional aspect of your brain to your rational aspect, you could do that perfectly. You follow directions, you pass IQ tests, you pass a lot of mental capacity tests. But if you said to me, okay, I'll organize a room, how do you want me to organize it? And I would say, well, whatever you think is best. Mm-hmm. You would never be able to make up your mind. Because what's best to you is based on what you care about, which by definition makes best an emotional decision. What do you care about?
So learning, a big part of negotiation is understanding what they care about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So in that case, with the mom of the sociopathic...
Terrorist got moms.
So hang on. This terrorist is what's his story?
Terrorist got moms. I mean, this actually, and the example I was giving you the other night, it just happened to be this same guy.
Right.
Because while we're in the middle of the kidnapping, they were claiming that they were torturing the American, and we knew that they weren't. And the State Department's direction to us was focus on not getting them out, focus on getting them to stop saying they're torturing. Which to me sounded stupid. Like, wait a minute, the emphasis is no longer on getting them out. You're cool if he's there as long as they're not treated.
You just don't want the PR problem.
We don't want the PR. So we're trying to figure out this is a stupid thing. I thought this is stupid. And I was on the phone with my boss at the time, Gary Nessner, was my boss. He recruited me into the negotiation unit, former mentor, brilliant guy. And I remember at the time, because we're 13 hours difference, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm speaking to him. And I remember he said to me, you know what, well, tell the terrorists that the American hostage's mom is worried about him. And I remember when he said that to me, I literally held the phone away from my head because I thought, that's the dumbest effing thing I ever heard in my life. I remember thinking, like, you gotta be kidding me, that's the dumbest. So okay, we'll do it. Whatever. I didn't think it was going to hurt. So we were back on the phone the next day, and I'm coaching my guy, and we're trying to get him to admit that they're not torturing him, which I'm sure on the other side seems stupid to them too. But my negotiator says to the sociopath, Jeffrey's mom's worried about him. And the sociopath literally says, his mother knows about this? You tell her he's okay. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
So the Boston mentor was actually pretty dang smart about that idea at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Maybe there were times I needed to listen to him.
So, overall we think about, people think about negotiation. What's the difference between negotiation and bargaining? Because there's a big difference in your...
Well, bargaining is a tiny subset of negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
Negotiation is influence. Negotiation is synonymous to navigation. Negotiation is gathering information, trying to get an outcome. I mean, if the word I want is in your head, you're probably in a negotiation. Mm. If someone's trying to get you to say yes, you're in a negotiation. People are in 5, 6, 7 negotiations every day.
I'm in negotiations with my 4-year-old kids at least twice a day.
Yeah, with everybody. I mean, you're in a negotiation when you're ordering coffee at Starbucks.
See, there's a statement that you make, and I think this is a real important one, gang. Chris says the most dangerous negotiation is when you don't even know you're in.
Right.
Explain that statement for everybody.
Well, all right, so stuff is already at stake and you don't know it. If the other side's shrewd enough to know you're in a negotiation, they've started in on you and you don't even know it. Mm. They're gathering information, they're positioning, they're picking up, they're understanding how you're influenced. We're all influenced by fear of loss. That's our primary influencer. Not the only one, just the biggest. It's the highest value score. What are you afraid of losing? So an astute negotiator is starting to assess and affect that thinking in our head from the very beginning. We might think, I'm not in a negotiation. I'm ordering coffee at Starbucks. A guy that wrote a book called Secrets and had a website called Secrets asked everybody what their secrets were. In the mail he gets a cup, a Starbucks, unused Starbucks cup. So it came from Starbucks. And a person says, I give decaf to people who are mean to me.
So the Starbucks barista is putting decaf in people.
Those of you out there that think you're gaining a tolerance to caffeine, building up, maybe it's just that you're not very nice and you're getting decaf, you don't even know it.
So, the bargaining is where it's sort of the money side of it, whereas everything else can be a negotiation. You're not negotiating the price with the barista.
Exactly.
You're negotiating great service. You're negotiating a smile. You're negotiating that they remember your order next time. You're negotiating front of the line privileges.
You're negotiating that they deliver what they promised they would deliver, right? And when are they going to do it? Yeah, front of the line, back of the line. The person behind you is a person that's really nice to them. That guy gets in and out, gets his coffee in and out. You're still standing there waiting for yours.
Yeah. So bargaining, and a lot of people, I kind of feel though, Chris, a lot of people think of negotiation just as bargaining.
Right. Most people see it as synonymous. A lot of training we'll say, what's the difference between negotiation and bargaining? And most people go, and then they make something up because it never even occurred to them.
Yeah. So how do you define bargaining and negotiation different?
Well, bargaining isn't necessarily information gathering. Mm-hmm. I mean, we view negotiation as what we're acquiring is information, and the best source of information is you. So I want to get in. I want to get in right away. I may know the different stakes on the table, but I don't know how you feel about them. I don't know which one you think is important. I don't know what kind of pressure you're facing. Did your boss tell you yesterday if the next deal you miss out on, you're fired? Or did your boss today say, man, you're rock solid, your bonus is through the roof? You're not particularly hungry. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yeah.
I don't know who in your life is giving you a hard time, who's giving you ultimatums, or who's giving you encouragement. Mm-hmm. That's all going to affect your valuations on everything. I don't know if you're a salesperson. I don't know if you're being evaluated quarterly, monthly, weekly. Mm-hmm. I don't know that. I need to get that out of you. I need to know the cards that you're holding. That's the commodity I want is information. I got to get into this conversation. And another trick also is asking questions is not the best way to gather information.
Mm-hmm.
This is an information gathering process. If I ask you a question, there's two problems. No matter how good the question is, your guard is going to go up. Mm-hmm. It's going to interfere in your answer. And you might not like to be asked questions at all. Mm. And so your guard is up, you don't like to be asked questions, you're beginning to filter. I need to get around that. Plus, by asking questions, I begin to betray some of my wants, needs, desires, weaknesses, strengths. If I'm not real careful with how I ask those questions. Mm. You know, can you deliver the product by Thursday? What am I telling you? I might be giving up my deadline.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be careful about how much information you give away with questions. Mm. Hostage negotiators, and in my company, we gather information without asking questions. We get you talking in ways that you don't realize you're talking.
Yeah.
What you said to us indicates what's on your mind. You know, another one, my son kills me because almost every time we sit down and talk, he's come up with a different one. When somebody asks him, how are you today? He never answers. What he does instead is...
Next time I speak to him, I'm going to ask him how he is today.
You know, and here's what he's going to say. Sounds like there's something on your mind. Because when we've got something on our mind, we always want to take the other person's temperature emotionally. Mm. How are you? I'm trying to check to see how easy I can talk to you right now because I do have something on my mind.
Yeah. I don't think everyone going into a meeting or into a situation where they're doing business, they have something on their mind. That's
so
important thing.
Let's hack the process.
Yeah.
Let's not waste, because our most valuable commodity is time. All this is about giving people more time.
Yeah.
If you say, how are you to me, I go, I'm okay, and I want to talk about the game last night. And where I got my steak or whatever I did. You don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, you
got to sit there and listen to it.
Yeah. Yeah, opening it up, you're getting that whole thing going. You know, buddy, I keep learning new stuff every time we sit together. I appreciate it. Gang, never split the difference. Chris Voss, great book. Read it. Listen to this man. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.